Hello guys, welcome again to a new motherfucking video. So this time I'm going to talk about which PC you should buy, and I'm going to explain some of the mysteries that you can find, especially if you're a beginner. So before we start, hit subscribe, like, comment, and I know you're not going to share it, it's fine, just give me one like. I'm not asking for too much, guys. But I will be very happy, making me happy and give me one like. I want likes, come on guys, you can do it. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about rich as fuck budget, medium budget, and for low budget pauvria. Anyway, so let's get started. So first thing, before we start, I'm going to explain a few things. If you see something highlighted in red, it means it's really fucking important. If you see it in yellow, it means it's still very fucking important, but not as much as red. But you still need to note it down, right? Okay, so red means extremely fucking important, like there's no way around it. Same thing as yellow, I just wanted to make two colors. Alright, let's get to it. So what I'm going to talk about this video is PTP, price to performance. Fuck, English is hard. Price to performance, best deal for your buck. Possible upgrades you can make later on. I'm going to talk about the aesthetics, not much, but so let's for 2069, haha, made 69 jokes anyway. So what rig to get for your specific needs, laptop or desktop. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons, and also the specific needs that you're going to need, alright? And I'm going to explain that cheap does not mean bad, alright? Sometimes bad is good, alright? No, the cheap is good, alright? So what is benchmark? Oh yes, this one. This is very fucking important. If you know how to benchmark your stuff, then you don't need any help, alright? I'm going to talk about this later on. And of course, it's going to be fast, simple terms and simple words. Let's go! Woo! Yeah, awesome. TFF, subscribe. So you're going to be from this, what the fuck is happening? Then you're going to be to this, like Karl, you know, you're going to be confident. You see this? This is you, grandpa. You're going to buy your beautiful, handsome daughter. Not handsome, beautiful, yeah, handsome is for guys. Anyway, your beautiful daughter, this beautiful laptop. No, yeah, amazing laptop. So, handsome grandpa, beautiful daughter, amazing laptop. Yeah, so everyone's going to be happy. Yeah, awesome. So this guide is for complete beginners in PC, blah blah blah. You can read this, pause this shit. I just wanted to write it down so you see what you're getting into. Start. So two things I want to talk about. The main things about any PC or laptop. There's no way around it, right? So we have CPU and GPU. CPU stands no. I'm going to explain that later, but in CPU there are three main things I need you to focus on, alright? Three main fucking things, check a pen, note it down. Gen stands for generation, cores and multi-thread. I'm going to explain these three later on, alright? And then we have VRAM in GPU. There's a lot to talk about GPUs, but for now, from a beginner's point or perspective, don't want to confuse you with a lot of informations, right? So just note down VRAM for GPU. I'm going to explain what is a GPU later on, and a CPU, and all of these things, alright? Let's get to it. So CPU stands for Central Process Unit. Basically, the bigger this number gets, the greener the better, alright? So sometimes I'm going to talk also about sometimes i3 can be better than i7, alright? So don't be fooled. This has to do with the generations and cores and multi-thread and two, alright? It's a bit complicated, but it's not, trust me. Just at first might be a little bit confusing, but it is child's play, dead honest. Anyway, so let's get right to it, to note down, alright? So come on grandpa, take your fucking pencil. Generation or gen, the bigger the number, the better. Aim for 6th generation and more usually. Do I need to repeat myself? The bigger the number of the generation, the better. Aim for 6th, depending on your budget of course, and more usually. Cores, what is a core? Core simply calculates informations. To explain it in simple terms, it's like the heart or brain of the PC. The more, the better. Simple as that, right? Don't complicate things. Check it as it is. And don't check it too hard. Multi-threads. Haha, I made too hard joke. Multi-threads. It is important to have them. Why? It helps the cores to process the information faster, twice faster. It's a myth, but it's hard to explain. I don't want to confuse you. Just fucking get the multi-thread. It's not complicated. If you love your grandson or your granddaughter, you want to be happy, just fucking get her the multi-thread, alright? Shut the fuck up. So, obviously I'm not going to talk about all of the CPUs and all of the GPUs because it's fucking practically fucking impossible. You're asking me to explain something that is never going to be endless. Why GFF? Basically there's 1.2k CPUs and more than 600 fucking GPUs. So it's going to take me like 48 hours to explain them all, and mostly I don't know any shit about them, so I'm just going to explain the most crucial parts about the CPU and GPU, right? So everyone is going to be happy, you're going to be happy, your granddaughter is going to be happy. Give her my phone number anyway, so let's go on. Now I'm going to explain something very important, grandpas, alright? So CPU stands for Central Process Unit. I explained earlier. We have Intel. Intel has the i9 processor. This is an I, right? Usually it's not in cap, but yeah, so just, yeah, I'm too lazy to modify it. Yeah, fucking zoomers. Anyway, I'm not a zoomer, shut the fuck up. So you have i9, i7, i5, and i3, right? And then we have Ryzen. Ryzen and Intel are the biggest companies that make central process units. Central process units. We have Intel and Ryzen. Ryzen recently has proven itself very fucking worthy, but there's crazy fucking cores and multi-threading counts, right? And then we have Intel, that's been from like the 2000 to 2020, and it's still hanging on with its title, and I mean they have some good products. I would buy an Intel, but I might give Ryzen a shot. I might buy the 5th soon or the 7th, yeah, I might buy it. Anyway, so I'm going to explain everything there is to know about this that you need to know, alright? So let's go. So earlier I said that i3 might be better than i7. Let me explain. It all has to do with the generation that you note down, alright? So an i3 10th generation is better than i7 4th generation, alright? And so on and so on. It's simple, guys, don't take it too hard. So we have an i7 here. i7 is better than i5. It's better than i3, alright? But under certain circumstances, conditions, if the generation is bigger than the i7th 4th generation, then i7 4th gen is going to suck more than i3 10th generation. I hope I explained it well. Basically, the bigger the generation, the better. Check it as that, right? Avoid 10th generation i7 if you have a low budget, but if you're rich as fuck, then fuck you, buy 10th generation. No one gives a fuck about you. I have another example. I have the i5 10th generation. You can see I've done some benchmarking, which I'm basically explaining what is a benchmark right now passively. So i5 10th generation, which is this one, i5 its 10th generation is better than an i7 9th generation. Believe it or not, yeah, it is what it is. Check it as it is, don't check it too hard. And then we have i7th Fifth generation, which is lower than i5th 10th generation, and then we have i5th 10th generation, which is better than i7 7th generation, and so on, etc, etc. I hope I'm clear. So I want you to focus on the generation because it has better core count and multi-threading, alright? So basically I don't want to overload you with some unnecessary shit. This is what's important. Focus on this. The generation, it has to be big. The bigger the better. The better technology applied. Cores, simply the brain of the PC. The more the merrier. We have multi-threaded. Just get just get a fucking CPU with multi-threading, alright? It's worth it. And this sums up basically the CPU. So this was a brief overview. If you want to further search on your quest to comprehend what is a CPU, what does it does, other than what I'm said, even though what I said was just basic, shut the fuck up, I know. I'm just talking on grandpas. What's an inch with you? Get the fuck out. So I'm going to link down a YouTube channel which I highly recommend and I respect, and the whole tech community respects as well. And you're going to find it, the first link down in the description. Alright, so now we're going to talk about GPUs. The motherfucking GPUs. GPU stands for Geographic Parallel Unity. Just a fucking frog! So GPU stands for Graphic Process Unit. It helps to process videos, animation, games, rendering, better frame rates, better resolution, and a lot more. Alright, Grandpa? But GFM.
What about the SM, the CUDA core, the core clock, the thermal throttling, chainsaw core, boost clock, RT core, vertices, LLPs, SLE, and crossfires?
Shut the fuck up! Putain de mec, ferme ta gueule!
They don't need all of these information. So for now, there is a lot to say about GPUs, alright? We're not going to talk about all that shit. All what matters for you as a beginner is the VRAM, okay? Okay, trolls, so shut the fuck up. So VRAM, basically, to sum up what VRAM does, it saves a massive amounts of information temporarily to give it to you when you need it. Simple as that, right? So we have two big companies. We have Nvidia, we have AMD. Alright, so remember their names, note it down. GPU, why did I not highlight this in yellow? Anyway, so in Nvidia we have the RTX, GTX and GX series. In AMD, I couldn't classify them, they have weird fucking names. Nvidia, great job. So yeah, AMD Radeon graphic if you want to buy an AMD. I don't know why, because AMD fucking sucks. Here I said it, AMD fucking sucks. But they might make something revolutionary. You might have noticed that the AMD logo stands or goes well with the Ryzen CPU. Grandpa, look at this grandpa. This grandpa fucking made this CPU. He is so fucking charming. Let's get back on track. So we have the RTX series, which is better than the GTX series, which is better than the GX series, and so on. So like I said earlier, there's a lot to say about GPUs. There's more than 600 GPUs, alright? So I'm just going to focus on some few selected GPUs that are smart, powerful, some are expensive, some are cheap. Cheap doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, alright? Remember on what we said earlier, cheap does not mean bad. Anyway.
But GFF, what about Intel GPUs?
Shut the fuck up! حباني دي ماكش كتفهم. Espèce de sous-merde, je t'encule fort sec.
So now we're going to talk about Nvidia GPUs. So like I said, if you notice here, this means performance, alright? And this is the price. So you can figure the chart by yourself. Expensive doesn't mean performance, alright? If you can get yourself the 370, then you're set for life. Like, you have the best fucking GPU your granddaughter or you or your son or your grandson can possibly buy, alright? They don't need 380. No one needs 380 GPU. In case they need it, I'm sorry, but it's highly more likely that they will not need it, right? So 370 is more than enough. You're getting the best deal out of your buck, right? Same thing goes for the AMD Ryzen CPU. They have the best CPUs, and I recommend to buy it. Might be a little bit tricky to install it, but usually it's easy, alright? So let's get right into it. So yeah, so if you want to know which CPU or GPU, central process unit, graphic process unit you want to buy, I can't stress enough that you need to do this. You need to benchmark the shit, the 11 nanotechnology shit out of it before you buy it. I'm going to link down some websites in the description to give you some benchmarks and how to make a visual search. It's easy as fuck. You're just going to enter YouTube, right? You're going to type the name of the GPU you want to search, then type VS and the other GPU you want to benchmark, and this way you're going to get an idea. Your plan, your heuristics are going to start working. They're going to build plans and so on and so on, and you're going to know what is bad, what is wrong, just with like in 10 searches. You're going to know what's wrong, what's good, what's bad, what's mean, and so on. So basically, what is benchmark? It simply means analyzing products, analyzing products and compare them to other products and calculate the best. All right, basically this is how you're going to search for a GPU. So yeah, it'd be GPU, CPU, and some other stuff we're going to talk about later on. It can be a screen, it can be a keyboard, mouse, microphone, can be anything. Literally, if you want to buy a car, you can try benchmark Mercedes versus an Audi, for an example. Why not? You see what I mean? Alright, perfect, let's go. So it's the same thing. I want you to benchmark Intel, Ryzen, and Nvidia and AMD. Before you buy any one of these, I want you to benchmark the shit out of it. Just note down as much of the information as possible. It might be overwhelming at first, but it's really child's play. It's easy. So now I'm going to talk about other specs about PCs. First thing first, I'm going to talk about RAM. What does it do? It helps the CPU, alright? Same thing as a VRAM. A RAM basically just holds a lot of information, right? And it feeds it to your CPU whenever it needs it. CPU is the brain or the heart. Like, it gives it a boost of informations when it needs it without the need to recalculate it all over again. So RAM is crucial, it's important, and it helps the CPU. A high megahertz is recommended. Basically, it's more performing. Like don't get something around 1.8k megahertz, right? You need to focus on something like 2.6k and up. 3k is good, 3.2k is even better, right? So I'm going to talk about HDD SSD. So as you can see here, SSD is greater than HDD. So SSD is more expensive though. Yeah, so basically what does this do is stores information. Simple as that. Where you can download your software, your porn, yeah. And so next we have PSU. How much power your PC uses, basically power supply unit. So if you're going to have a strong graphic card and a strong CPU, then you need higher PSU. Some GPUs are so powerful that they need their own PSU. Yeah, it's crazy shit, I know. Anyway, so internet, Wi-Fi, Ethernet. Yeah, everyone knows this. I don't know why I added this or any of this, or why the fuck am I making this video. I mean, practically everyone knows this shit, but just in case grandpa you don't know this, well, now you know. What machine should you get? So now I'm going to talk about the pros of laptop. Let's fucking start. First, it's dynamic. Basically, you can take it with you anywhere, which is a huge fucking advantage. You can take it to school, to cafes, any room of the house, which is fucking great. You can study, write, play, and so on in your living room, kitchen, toilet, taking a shit, showering, bedroom, and so on. Yeah, so it is also safe for work. The battery, just in case you are working in a desktop, right, and there was power outage and you didn't save your work, you're going to go crazy shit. You're going to go crazy bad shit, which is understandable, right? But laptop, on the other hand, they have a battery. In case there's a power outage, you're safe. You can save your work and you can turn off your laptop safely when you have your work saved in it. So the cons of laptop, keep in mind these are my pros and cons, they might differ from yours. If you don't like it, you can go. So it's expensive, less performant. Yes, it is less performant because it has a weak heat dissipation. Alright. Basically the CPU and GPU are so close to each other and they both emit a lot of heat, and heat slows down the PC, and they have a small tiny fan. Sometimes it does the trick, sometimes it doesn't, depending on the load you're loading your laptop. But yeah, so we also have limited upgrades. The CPU and GPU are welded in, you can't remove them, and if it happens that you do remove them, you're going to have to change the PSU as well, because your new CPU or GPU might need more power. Yeah, unless you want your motherboard to be fried, or so it's complicated. Unless you know what you're doing, then I don't think that you need to watch my video. But just in case, grandpa, you need to know this. We also have integrated parts, like sometimes there's the RAM that is welded on. They don't tell you this when you buy it, so they just show off how amazing the RAM is. So always ask if it is welded on. Sometimes they have the battery also welded on, so just ask. No, it's not like welded on, but it is duct taped on. And you can't buy it because the manufacturer doesn't make them, right? So you have to buy it on eBay from China, and lithium ion batteries can explode on you at any given moment, which is not fucking safe. And if you don't change it, your battery will die on you depending on how you use it in 2.5, 3 years or approximately. Alright? Next, so we have cables with the constant movement of the laptop. They tend to wear down, this malfunction. Sometimes they might short circuit on you and cause fire and shit. Bad battery as well. If you can't change it, you're in shit. So for me, these are the cons of a laptop. So you always have a backup cable, not the battery, because the battery needs to be on energy and off, right? Not off for a long period of time, for like 2-3 years. So just get 1 or 2 sets of cable. Anyway, let's move on to next. So next we have desktops. So the pros: cheap as fuck compared to laptops. It's performant, great heat dissipation, it's big, it has a lot of ventilation. Basically it's easily upgradable. The CPU, GPU are easily upgradable. Just make sure that the slots fit perfectly. The cons: so it's static, unlike the laptop, which is dynamic. The desktop is going to be right where you put it unless you move on or die. Basically, yeah, it is what it is. It's not work safe. Sometimes it cannot be work safe, trust me on this one. Unless you're smart and you constantly save, then you're safe. But sometimes you just fucking forget and you go and start working and so on. Alright, and it's big as fuck and heavy, depending on your rig. So for me, these are my own pros and cons. Now let's get on what you need to get. So before we start that, please don't forget to just at least make me happy and give me a fucking like. I'm not asking for too much. Make me happy, come on. And if you comment, I'm going to be happy too. If you subscribe, then my butt cheeks are going to be clapping. Yeah, so alright, now for the part you all have been waiting for: what PC you should need to buy. Alright, starting with programmers, then I'm going to talk about graphic designers. A gaming PC is the same as the graphic designer PC, alright? They have the same GPU and CPU functionalities, alright? Anyway, so for PC and for programmers, as you can see here, purple means very fucking important and orange is extra, right? So now we're going to start with minimum specs on very low budget, right? For programmers, an i3 6th generation or more, or more. It's extra, as you can see it's orange. So the minimum I would recommend is the i3 6th gen. Why? Because it has 4 cores. Or you can get an i5 an i5 4th generation or more. Why? Because it has 4 cores and multi-threads if possible. If not, then it's fine. If you're going to get multi-threaded, then you're going to go higher in the generation. Alright, perfect. I hope I'm clear. Then I'm going to talk about medium budget PC. So you're going to start with an i3 10th generation. If you can afford it, great. If you can afford more, then get an i5 8th generation or more, right? Or you can get an i7. Now we're talking serious business. 4th gen or more. It might be an overkill if you're only going to do programming, but it's a good thing to have, right? Then we have the Ryzen 5 series or 7 if you can afford it. So basically the medium budget, they are all multi-threaded, but always ask before buying. You're not going to lose anything. If you don't find it multi-threaded, return it back, go to the person who sold it to you or their manager, go Karen mode and ask for the manager. I was promised to get a multi-threaded CPU. It isn't, alright? So yeah, I'm rich as fuck budget. Fuck you guys, what help rich as fuck. Get the Threadripper AMD Ryzen 9 i9 10th generation, alright? So you're going to be set with this one and this one and this one. This should lock out after every budget, alright? Don't burn yourself for a perfect laptop or desktop if it is exclusively for programmers. And if you have a school and you want to buy PCs, just get the i3 6th gen or the i5 4th gen. Like a series of them. It's going to be cheaper if you're going to buy in bulk. Yeah, so now we're going to talk about GPUs. As always, purple means important as fuck, orange means extra, right? So minimum specs for GPU programmers. So if you're going to buy a rig laptop just for programming, dude, girl, grandpa, you don't need a GPU. Just get a basic HL GPU just to run basic stuff like videos and so on. You don't need it, right? But if you have some budget for it, or if you're broke, you don't need a fucking GPU. Don't burden yourself with it. But if you're kind of rich, you have some cash to spare, then of course you don't need a GPU. Remember, it's in purple. Don't burden yourself, guys. Just get a basic NVIDIA with 1GB of VRAM or 2GB of VRAM. For video games, we all like to play video games. Come on, don't tell me, no, I'm going to buy a laptop just for work and shut the fuck up. We all lie to ourselves like that. So if you do a chance design 2, then get 4GB of VRAM. If you do some design, just get 1GB or 2GB, right? If you're rich as fuck, go fuck yourself. RTX 390 and so on, any one of this list, you're going to be set. Basically, the rich as fuck budget with this GPU, any of these GPUs that is only intended for programming, is going to be like this guy. Yeah, like he's showing off basically. I'm a motherfucking DJ, look at me, I have so many bases. Alright, I'll shut the fuck up. Alright, so next we're going to talk about some other specs for programmers. Minimum specs on a very low budget. Remember, purple is important, orange is extra. So HDD, you need to at least get you 56GB, or it's cheap, it's not expensive, it's in the reach of everyone all around the world, alright? Or you can get the 512GB. If you have some money to spare, it's in orange, it's not a must. Also get 8GB of RAM minimum, right? If you can get 12GB of RAM, that will be pitch perfect. And if budget allows, get an SSD, look it up, benchmark it, ask for it and so on, alright? More RAM will be good too. 8 might not be enough, just Google Chrome basically eats all of it. I'm struggling. You've seen my past video truck simulator. My my video recorder was lagging as fuck. Anyway, so yeah, more RAM or high megahertz in RAM will be good. Now for medium budget, SSD 258. If you're going to buy an SSD, I needed to put this in orange. If you're going to buy an SSD, minimum 258. Don't get the 128. Alright. Then you have 512 1TB. It's very expensive but worth it. Then if you are going to buy an HDD, get at least 1TB. Alright, 2TB and so on. Anything more than 1TB in HDD, it's an extra. Anything more than 258 in SSD for programmers, it's an extra. RAM, get 12 minimum, preferably 16GB and more. Alright, and if you're rich as fuck, just get the SSD 5TB, RAM get 128GB, what the fuck not, 3K megahertz. Of course, rich as fuck budget is going to be like this. Yeah, so basically now this sums up a PC or laptop for programmers, and now we're going to start for graphic designers and 3D modelers, alright? Video editors as well, and gamers too, because they all share almost the same specs. Alright, let's fucking start. So remember, purple is important, orange is extra. So for minimum specs on very low budget, you're going to get an i3 10th generation or more. I needed to put this in purple. Why? Because it has 4 cores and it is multi-threaded, alright? An i5 6th generation, it can be multi-threaded. Just benchmark it. There are some ones who are and some others who aren't. Basically, I wasn't sure if I was going to put the multi-threads in purple or orange. So if your budget allows it, just push it. Get the multi-thread. It's important, alright? If it's possible, alright? If it's not possible, then it's alright, broski. Do you know why? Even if you have the shittiest PC in the world, you can still make beautiful things. Why? You see this guy right here, this guy with this fucking shitty PC. Back then it was awesome, but for today's standards, it's fucking shit. So this guy in 1990 motherfucking 3 made fucking this. No, not this, I'm sorry. He made this beautiful fucking colossal design. Then he transferred it, him and his team, I'm not sure, to this, the iconic Jurassic Park movie, the legend, the movie we've all seen in the 2000s. It was fucking awesome. It took us by our seats, we were so thrilled. So yes, in 1990 motherfucking 3, he made it with this shitty desktop. Had 100 megahertz. Holy fuck, our phones have like 20 times the power. Single core motherfucking processor, 50 megahertz Elon graphics. It's not made like to render, it's made for real-time executions, and that's it. So yeah, here it is written here. And for VRAM, it depends on system memory. Yeah, 256 megabytes of RAM. Holy fuck. So guys, if there is a will, there is a way. Alright, this PC was fucking shit. Alright, so you're set, broski, don't worry about it, broski, you're fine. So for medium budget, an i5 8th generation or more should be fine, or you can buy an i7 4th gen and more. Alright, AMD Ryzen 5 3600 and so on. I don't want to read all these names, I'm going to be retarded. They are all multi-threaded, but always ask before buying. What the fuck are you gonna lose if you don't ask? So basically you're going to aim for 4 cores and 8 threads minimum, alright? And if you're rich as fuck, just get the motherfucking Threadripper in the Ryzen 9 or the i9 10th generation, alright? Perfect. So now I'm going to talk about GPU for graphic designers and 3D gamers and the video editors as well. Remember, purple means important, orange means extra. So for the minimum specs, get 2 GB minimum or 1 GB depending on your budget in VRAM. Learn how to benchmark, learn how to search before buying. It's crucial. You don't need to ask anyone for anything. Learn how to benchmark your tools, alright? Get the GeForce, I'm going to give you some examples here. Get the GeForce GT 710. It has 2 GB, it's not expensive, it's in the reach of for everyone almost. Especially if you're going to focus on designing, like designing rig are expensive. Gaming rigs as well. Editing rigs as well, alright? So get the Gigabyte Radeon if you're a Radeon fan, get the RX 550. Now for the medium budget, get minimum 4 GB in VRAM, right? That is the main goal, the main aim. Get the GTX 1050 minimum, right? I'd say make sure that it has 4 GB in VRAM, ask before buying, sometimes it has 2 T, it's an extra, alright? Get the GTX 1060, 70, 80 or the 1650, 1660, right? The RTX 2060 is also awesome if you have the money for it, or the RX or the RTX 2060 or the RTX 2070, depending on your budget, alright? It's all about your budget. Just make sure you benchmark the shit out of it on YouTube and from other websites. Oh, perfect. So now for the rich as fuck budget. So the rule is minimum 6 GB in VRAM. You can go all the way to 12, 11, why not 22. Alright, so buy anything from this and you'll be set for life. I'm going to talk about other specs for designers, 3D design, gamers, and video editors as well. Remember, in purple important, orange extra. Minimum specs on very low budget. So I'm going to start with an HDD, get a minimum 256 GB. It's not expensive, you can buy it, you can get it, alright? If you have the money, go for 512 or 1 TB and so on, alright? Depending on your needs and etc. So for RAM, I'd say 8 GB will be the minimum, especially if you're going to use a lot of textures. Then you're going to need to invest in 12, 16, maybe 24, 22 GB in RAM. Especially graphic designers, or no, the 3D designers, they use a lot of textures and they need a lot of RAM. Unless you want your software to shut down systematically, invest in RAM, alright? And if budget allows it, get an SSD, more RAM or high megahertz and more. Same, alright? An SSD might be an important thing to have, but if you're fine with an HDD, then it's fine. So now for the medium budget, so basically by now you got the hang of it. HDD, SSD is an extra. If you can afford it, good. If you can't, then just get an HDD, 1 TB, 2 and so on, 258, 512, 1 TB. RAM, get minimum 16 GB. Alright, try and focus high in megahertz. 2.8 should be the sweet spot, and for 24 GB in RAM, 34 depending on your usage of your software, and if you're going to need a lot of RAM, right? So you should know. I can't know because it's you who's going to use the PC, alright? And if you're rich as fuck, just get 100 TB SSD. Yes, it exists. Yes, it's probably a prototype, but you're rich as fuck, just buy it. RAM 64 GB. Fuck it, go 256, 3.3 MHz. What's stopping you? And this is it. This is the short, compressed. I tried to be as fast as possible. I tried to push down every information I could give. Please, before you go, just give me one thumbs up. Take care, have fun, nature. Maybe subscribe to make my butt cheeks clap. And I'm going to be forever grateful. Thank you, later.